Okay, I built a really small presentation for a really complicated project that we done some times ago. And this is a migration from IBM Netcool into the Zabbix. It was like really complicated stuff. And it started with a customer request. We have a really long phone call about what is the pain points, why this customer is trying to solve this. And I write multiple issues, what we define together as a main reason why actually this company want to leave IBM Netcool. First of all, is a legacy platform. From the point of view of this customer, it was like, hey, we have some solution. It's outdated. We have multiple problems with this solution. We are not be able to do updates. We are not be able to easy change something with these solutions. And of course, it's limiting the flexibility of the teams. Also, it's some kind of vendor lock for every each new metrics or probe that you want to have in the system. You need to pay extra, which is like really expensive after some number. And right now, the latest information is the IBM Netcool was increasing the prices again. This customer had this solution for last 3 years. It's working absolutely fine. And we had discussion today with one of our customer, and he told me like, we are super happy we don't have this anymore. And we are super happy with the Zabbix itself. Here's a reason from the business point of size, and this is mainly price and also long-term price for all the maintenance costs what you need to spend to have this system. It's really slow time for the value. Like, hey, we want to have some new dashboards. You want to implement new probe or something. You are usually spending not minutes, but days on deliver something what is capable. And also the visualization layer was really complicated because this company is using web client, also desktop client, which is allowed only for a couple of some kind of the employees. For using these desktop clients, you need to know a lot of internal stuff about some groups, which is mainly market with the numbers, and it's super complicated for new guys to work with the system really quickly. And what this customer want to solve with the changing on new systems. He internally have a lot of discussion about the open source. He tests like multiple different options for the different softwares. He's not initially say, hey, we want to do Zabbix, but this company use multiple different open source software. It's take like 9 months. And after it's 9 months, this customer say, hey, we already know what we super like. And this is something what is easy to maintain, which is really friendly for our L1 team, which is mainly work with NOC. It's license free. We can do absolutely everything with the software. Of course, we are not be able to sell this software, but we can change the source code, and we are be able to have the source code in our environment. In some case, I don't know, some companies die or something, we are still absolutely okay. We're going to have a modern UI, which is super nice if you have Zabbix, because you have really easy front-end page and you can do absolutely everything. This customer really likes user role and permissions. For example, you can see on the dashboards, you can see on the specific part of your systems. You can call some front-end scripts. You are not be able to call some front-end scripts, etc. Also, this customer really like dashboards because you can have, I don't know, 5 closed dashboards only with read-only permissions. And of course, you can clone these dashboards and you can build your own dashboards for your use case. This team want to have full internal ownership to know how it works. We are be able to change this without any other partners. And this is one of the main reasons why Zabbix was like, hey, we probably want to do something with the Zabbix. As a safe side, after the starting some kind of POC, we introduced the API, which is really, really good one for the event correlation stuff, because we need to read a lot of data via API. We need to write some new message. We need to do acknowledgement, etc. And all this stuff it can be done via API. Zabbix can be connected with some ticketed systems or CMDB, or it can be automated by some pipelines. This is also a very important part because during the implementation of this project, we have many and many different requests about, hey, we want to do it like with our GitOps solutions, what we have here, and we really like this. And we are still not sure if we are be able to do it with Zabbix. And this is exactly something what our customers mentioned. And we say like, hey, Zabbix is really popular. Everyone in our company tell us, hey, maybe it can be done with this one, but probably it cannot be done. But we really like the front-end implementation, and we feel internally it's a huge chance for us to try this solution. But we have multiple problems what need to be solved. For example, how to create really quickly events in Zabbix, because in Zabbix, you need to firstly have host, item, and trigger. You don't have any options via API to say, okay, I want to have only events for the system. And this is exactly the bottleneck. And we say, okay, I think it can be done. After this call, I have multiple ideas, like 3, 4 different ideas, how we can work with this one. I can directly tell you, we have also idea with low-level discovery, which was very quickly show like it's not good way to do with low-level discovery. And something what is really important for you, what it's not mentioned here, we work on old version of the Zabbix. We work on 6.0 version because 6.1 was latest LTS version, what was in this time available. Right now we have 7.0 version, etc. We are doing right now upgrade on 7.0 version, but we are mainly staying on LTS version. We are free to go with POC with this customer, and we say, hey, we can give you some times. This time is for free because we are not sure if we are be able to give you insurance, it can be done, and we can do it together. We start with this POC, and we actually have success really quickly. We have success. A little bit more about architecture, because you need to understand what actually is inside a little bit. I have really small diagram, but internally it's really complicated. Here you can see it's a source device. Everything what is mean source device is somehow we are getting information from this device. In our customer autos, 80% of this data is SNMP traps. You know, SNMP trap have specific pattern, we can say, but we rework this SNMP library to automatically preprocess this data in JSON. We also have right now like 4 or 5 different sources. I have later some screenshot when you can see how it actually looks like. And when we have finally this data in JSON, you can see we are still not sending this data in Zabbix. We are sending this data in Apache Nifi. In Apache Nifi, we have really huge logic about handles the problems, enrichment this JSON data. We are doing aggregation, we are doing counting, we are closing some events before it's created, because this problem is probably in 1 second, we have 10,000 of same problem. For example, internet, it's not working, and we don't want to say all these 10,000 problems in Zabbix. We are sending only one with information, hey, this problem is already here 10,000 times in some time. And when all these data are clean and finally solved, we are sending this data in Zabbix. But it's not here in diagram because it will be super complicated. This part, it's in each step in sending data in Kafka, which is separate topic. And this topic is mainly here. In some case, if something is not working, as how to tell us if we are losing one event, it's a huge problem for us. For every each step, we are trying to make some insurance. If something is not working, I don't know, DNS records is not working, IP is not working, firewall is broken or something, we are never losing any data, and later we are be able to use this data and pre-process or process this data. When we are sending this data in Zabbix, no huge magic is happened here. what we are doing. Apache Nifi is building infrastructure for us. This infrastructure is basically host with some specific host name and assign a template. In this template, we have item, which is type trapper, and we are from Apache Nifi sending this data, I mean JSON data, via Zabbix sender. Here's something what maybe can help you a little bit in future. With Zabbix sender, you can send data, and you have two specific parameters. One is uppercase T for timestamp, but if you are sending same data in same timestamp, it's not possible. You need to add additional parameter. It's uppercase N, and this is for nanoseconds. Multiple people ask me, what is the correct number for this nanoseconds? Nanoseconds, it's usually 9 numbers. We are generating these numbers because we don't have these numbers from source devices. We are generating this with some random number. We never had a situation like, hey, data are not accepted because of this. We have in Apache Nifi some workflow which is checking if these data are accepted. If not, he's trying to do it again with different nanoseconds. And if still not accepted, he's saying this data in Kafka about, hey, these data are marketable. It's not in Zabbix. And in Zabbix, we are using this trigger with multiple event generation for showing you these problems. I later have exactly screenshot how it's actually done. These data from the Zabbix are stored automatically for Kafka and Elastic. In Elastic, it's mainly done for archiving and later processing. This later processing, it's mean like if somebody is doing traceroute, what is happened, etc. This data into Kafka, because old Zabbix 6.0 don't have a connector, we are using data export. We are using data exporter, and here we have some file beats, and we are sending this data in Kafka and Elastic. We are also having, for some events, connection in TTS, but mainly events are like worked with these events is done manually. Later, I have some pop-up window when you can see how it actually works. For some specific host or events, we are also having connection with CMDB. For example, hey, this device, I'm not sure what is this device. You can click info about this device, and you can see a lot of information from CMDB. Sadly, I don't have screenshot for TTS or CMDB because it's not allowed to show you the content of these two sources. How we think internally. We need to build something what is working in high availability, and this high availability, it's working absolutely every time. We are super lucky because this customer have 3 different DCs. Zabbix is running in active, we can say active ready design. When something is wrong with one Zabbix server, it's automatically doing switchover. Same is for DB. We are using for DB PostgreSQL implemented with without timescale DB. Reason for this timescale DB is simple. We are not storing almost 0 history. We are mainly doing events, event stacks, etc. It's not make sense too much for us to have timescale DB there. And what is also very important, all 3 front ends are working like separately. All 3 front ends are doing active jobs. It's really good for any kind of maintenance. And this is how actually the system works. Right now is a plan to add additional 2 front ends. The reason for it, Artyom already mentioned this, it's HTTP push. For 7.0 version, we want to rework a little bit this workflow, but we are still on the slides for speaking mainly about the workflow, what is working with 6.0 version. All the platforms, it's built like GitOps. Everything what is regarding the system and Zabbix settings, it's built in Ansible. Everything what is regarding to Apache Nifi is also built in GitOps. Also, the part for the specific device source is also stored in GitOps, which is doing really great job, because if you want to change something, you are changing this in Git, you need to write some kind of comment message why you are changing this, and automatically it will be tested And if you are not be able to use this in a test environment, you need to fix this. All this is stored in our customer environment, and it's worked absolutely fine. After 3 years, I can tell you it's great. Although infrastructure is automatically provisioned, and for Apache Nifi, its situation is slightly different one. For Apache Nifi, we are not using 3 data centers. We are only using 2 data centers, which is more like these 2 data centers for us are primary data centers. On each data center, we have 2 separate VMs. One VM containing 6 Docker images. One is for preprocessing, and second VM is containing additional 6 images, and these images are done for post-processing. What is the pre-processing and post-processing in Apache Nifi? I will show you a little bit later with very complicated diagram. This is how it's done. 3 separate front ends, 3 separate backends, and of course, Postgres running with automatic switchover via Patroni. We also have 3 different load balancers. All these load balancers is built on big IP. We are not forced too much to actually use load balancer for 10,051, but we are using it. In some case, it's something is, I don't know, broken with Zabbix server itself. We want to use this load balancer for these ports. Here is the architecture, how it actually looks like for Apache Nifi. You have DC1, DC2, 1 VM, second VM. Here is a pre-processing, here is a post-processing. Why we have multiple images here? Because each image is running in high availability for some separate topic. This is why we don't need to have extra DC3, because everything is twice actually covered by separate machines. And this environment in DC2, it's mainly working like standby, but it can be run in active. Right now it's working in standby. The main reason for it is the debugging and also to seeing if something is problem, we want to have problem only on one location. Here's the architecture for Zabbix. Here you can see database cluster. First load balancer for our port 10,051. Second load balancer for our Patroni cluster. Here we have also separate machine for backups. Here is a Zabbix server. Each machine is running on separate virtual machines. And here you can also see the front end, which is mainly connecting on the active nodes via server 10,051. And here's the plan. It's already some kind of, it's working. It's already out on Azure, but nobody using too much this Azure environment. I have questionable this one. How is the state for this one? And probably for future, for some guys which is working from home, it will be forced to use this Azure front end. Right now, people is mainly using VPN connection, or we have also some picture from Network Operations Center inside of the O2 company, but it will be shared in our video next week. I will have some information a little bit later. And here's the final architecture all in one. Here you can see our data sources. This data, when it's finally done and it's actually converted in JSON, it's sent that in JSON data in this landing zone. It's Apache Nifi. This data are stored in Kafka. If something is wrong in preprocessing, we want to have this data before the preprocessing. This data is sent in preprocessing. Here is mainly done the cleaning this data and saying, if this is a message from Nokia device, this Nokia device need to have these 30 fields. And here we are doing normalizing for each event what we get. When we have this event done, we are again storing this data in different topic in Kafka. And we are sending this data later for post-processing sender. Here is a checking if this host is existing, if I'm be able to send this data, if I'm not be able to send this data, I'm trying this again. All this preprocessing here is mainly sending this data is done here. Here's also small memcache. it's mainly storing all the configuration of the Zabbix server. Like how many Zabbix server have this Zabbix server, which host we have here, if this host has this specific item, how many events have these items, if some events is created here, how is the event ID for this one? All this is also stored here. And when we are sending this data via Zabbix Center here in Zabbix Server, we are of course storing this data in our pattern cluster, but we are mainly storing 1 hour of history. Why we are storing some history? Because of trigger. We want to create the trigger. When this trigger are fired up, we don't need this data anymore. And here we are having visualization. This visualization containing multiple custom dashboards, multiple widgets that is dedicated only for this visualization. And here's a multiple consumers who is actually consuming this data. Here's a network operation center. Here's some specific service, and here's some extra integration. When we are starting with this project, we are having this old Netcool here as some kind of the source for this data. We want to see we have this data twice. If we don't have some data twice, it means here is some issue and we are not gathering this data. Now, this part is completely turned off. It's not here anymore. Why was our problem? Definitely, it's how we get this data. We have some data, but this data, it's not containing everything what we need, and we need to get this data first. Right now, we have multiple options in this customer, how we are getting this data. We are also using Nifi, we are using Cisco pipelines, and right now, Telegraph, it looks like it's a huge boom in this company, and probably in future, we are expecting Telegraph maybe cover 90% of all these events. We are also using FluentBit. You can use some specific file and send this data later to the Nifi. FluentD, you can use SQL queries. You can also load data from syslog directly. And also the famous SNMP pooling or SNMP traps. Here's some kind of trap O sonda. This is a name from the O2. It's really complicated for us to say, okay, what is this? We can say this is a rebuilded library, which is automatically doing reading this data, comparing this data with MIP file, or if you don't have MIP file with OEDAs, and automatically do translation in readable fields in our JSON format. Also, here's the Kafka. Kafka is used for some specific use case, and for future, maybe it will be used for some devices when we want to have, for example, some data twice. Why? If something is happen, like for example, one really huge DC go down, we can still have some outside connection, which is doing some extra connection from outside from both or 3 DCs, and we can still have this data. This is something what is right now in plan. We already know it can be implemented, but we are not having this implementation. This is how it actually looks right now in this customer. We are using Nifi, Cisco, FluentBit, FluentD, and here is some custom scripts. You are not bonded with some specific hardware or software. You only need to have some skill or ChatGPT to write your Python script, which is mainly reworking your data in some specific JSON event format. Here's how this is really simple workflow from Nifi. Here we are consuming our data in JSON. Here, only for debugging, we are adding some extra timestamp when we get this data from Kafka. And here we are finally doing something. Here we are saying, hey, these data are from, I don't know, Nokia. And here we are saying we need to add multiple additional fields. For these fields, sometimes you need to do some extra request for something like CMDB or something like that to have information what is inside of these fields. When all this is done here, we are doing the deduplication cycle. This is mainly there for micro outages. For example, in 1 or 5 seconds, you have 10 absolutely same events. It's mean like, hey, it's up and down probably. And what I am doing, I need to check what is the last message. If last message is close, I am doing nothing. If last message is not close, I'm sending to the Zabbix only one event, not, for example, 10,000. Here's the deduplication gateways. Here we are saying like, if you have two devices and both devices is down, we are only sending information like, hey, only one device is done. Why? If you have board and this customer is largest telco company in Czech Republic, and if you have on this board, I don't know, thousands of events, you can really quickly miss something what is very important. This is why we are doing this cleaning only for important information, and we are trying to have not too much duplication for data. Here is a memcache enrichment. What we are doing here, we are adding some specific metadata because in O2 you can have multiple consumers for this data, and we know these data are for specific, for example, networking consumers. This one is also for some telco consumers, which is doing something specific. Or we can say this is exactly affecting our VIP customer, and we want to have this information added here. And when everything is fine, we are finally sending this data to the Kafka, and different workflow for post-processing. It's gathering this data and doing his job. This is workflow for pre-processing. Why we have post-processing? It's almost same concept like for pre-processing, but this one is mainly used for API calls. For example, hey, we still have this problem, and this problems is increasing the number how many times we have these problems. We are not creating any new problems. We are only updating some information in front of them about, hey, this problem is still here and still having new issues. It's still there. It's still not fixed. Here also is a check if this host exists. If this host is not existing, this API call build this host, automatically call additional call for execute, for configuration load. When this host is finally here, we can send this data. You need to know 6.0 version don't have too much effective configuration cache. 7.0 is much more better. From 7.0 version, you can have 10 seconds for configuration update interval, but in 6.0, it's something that we are doing usually every 10 seconds. Here is also post-processing, which is checking the time between every each execute for configuration load. We don't want to do it very, very often. We are not using config file because it's not make sense. If no problem is happening, why we are calling execute configuration load or something. This is absolutely everything is done with post-processing here. We have, if I'm not wrong, average 5 minutes is done as some kind of the workaround if this post-processing is not working. We are updating events via API. We are changing severity. We are doing acknowledgement. We are appending event message. We have specific form of this message, and we build widgets which is reading this message. For example, count. If you are sending tally and some number, we know this is a number how many times this problem is here. We are not changing nothing. We are only reading the latest message. And of course, this system is sending data to the Zabbix, and also it's sending data in Elastic for archiving. If Zabbix is not working, which is usually not happening, we still have some workaround for possible problems. What is the technical solution in Zabbix? This one is, we can say, it's easy part. Each host has templated with the template is containing item, and this item is Zabbix trapper. This item is bound with 6 different triggers. Each trigger is multiple event generation. in this multiple event generation, we are using regular expression for name, for event name, and for tag. Why we are using this one? Each message is work like separate event. It's not like, hey, we have one item, we are sending 10,000 messages. We are reading if this message is opening or closing for problem. And here, all the logic is mainly done via tags. For tags, we are also populating additional fields, which is important for this customer. Right now, the maximum number what we have for specific part is 24 different tags. And every each tag is containing something what is used later for filtering or what is super important for this network operation center. This is how this item looks like. Nothing specific here. We are only at extra preprocessing for validation JSON. We have extra internal action. If this JSON is not validated, because it's not valid JSON, we have notification. Hey, we are reaching from post-processing unvalidated JSON. This is how this trigger looks like. This one, it's usually not used. This one is mainly in some situation, we are sending information which is not bonded with information disaster high, etc. And here we have something what we are not sure what is it actually. Here you can see we are having different severity, intermediate, critical, major, minor warning. This is not screenshot from customer environment, but this customer, he have different severities with different name. You can also do it in Zabbix. It's a native way how to do it. And for example, if I'm not wrong, for average is use a minor and the colors is slightly different. Why? This customer asked, hey, can we have the same colors what we have in IBM Netcool? It also can be done. You can see this a little bit later. And this is how our trigger looks like. This trigger are saying, hey, here we have some find, and we are finding a message with clear. And we are also finding in this content if this is critical. If we have clear, we are closing this problem out, the solved problem. Here we are also reading alarm ID from the tag. And how we are reading alarm ID, we are again using the same message what we get. And we are using sub regular expression to read alarm ID. If we are closing specific alarm ID, only this alarm ID will be closed. This is beautiful of this trigger. Be careful with using item value, item last value. We have multiple small issues. If you are using item last value, it's look like you have duplicated problems or something. If you are doing it really often, it was misconfiguration. I made this misconfiguration, and this is a notice for you. And here, really quickly, some kind of the implementation what we have here. You can see it's a custom widget what we built for this customer. Here you can see how it actually works. This customer don't like to have any spare space here used for something what he's actually don't need to use. Here we have a specific widget. I will show you later how it actually works. You can mark these events, you can mark multiple events, and you can also use a quick action on these events. This customer have separate question about, hey, we want to use separate filtering. This filtering was not present in Zabbix, and we built this as a separate widget. It was first widget ever what was built on Zabbix. And we present this 3 or 4 years ago on a Zabbix Summit. And directly after the Zabbix Summit, Alex say, okay, it's time to build some framework for it. Right now it's not something unique, but in time when we are building this one, it was like super unique solution. Here you can see production dashboards. I will not be able to show you almost nothing. But you can see it's a separate parts, main parts of this company. And here you can see the separate internal parts, what is used for measurement. You can see this is a screenshot from today, and you can see how many problems this company have. The reason for it is super huge company. It's something what is absolutely okay. when something huge has happened, it's a completely different one. But after the implementation or migration from the IBM Netcool to the Zabbix, I have experience from the guy who is actually working there, and he told me like it was like much more better to figure out what is wrong. It was much more easier for us because we have different filtering right now, and we can see really quickly what is wrong. For every each event, we can do multiple actions. In front end, you can do multiple actions. In time, when we are working with 6.0, you don't have option for some specific input. I can tell you for almost each button what we have here, we have like 6 or 7 different inputs. I'll not be able to show you what is here, but for example, for create TTS, we are creating ticketing system. For add TTS, we can say, okay, all these problems, and we want to use add to TTS and say which is bonded with already created ticket. It's mean like we don't have 10,000 tickets, we have one ticket, and here in the system is visible, okay, this is bonded all these specific tickets. Here's some small video how actually this part is actually works. That you can see here, we are having display severities counts. This count is visible here on the top. We can see specific numbers for specific severities. And this is something what is natively done in IBM Netcool, but not in Zabbix. This is what we built extra for this customer. Additional topic, what is done here is a reordering. You can see here is the time, host, problem, and actions. And this customer say, I don't want to see time. I want to see, for example, host, problems, and how many action is done here. And we also don't like this space here. And you can see we make some really easy reordering with the percentage for every each size. How many big size it's used by this one. Here's an additional one, and this is multiple marks. You don't need to click on some button mark or something. You just click on your events and it's automatically marked. You can use also drag and drop. Come on. And you can see it's marked again. It's something what also this customer want to have extra because, hey, usually if you have a huge issue, we need to be like super quick. We don't have time to choose some problems or something. We need to be like super quick. And last part here is a multiple event of sorting. You can see here is some icon for sorting where you can say, I firstly want to sort by time. On second place, I want to sort by severity. And third place, I want to sort, for example, by acknowledgement. This video is from open source version. We have this as an open source. You can download everything what you see here on this GitHub. Here's a header widget. What is done as some part of the naming, which part is of this company. Compact dashboard to make your dashboard really compact. And this is the enhanced problem widget what I show you. Customer satisfaction and outcomes. I can tell you like this customer is really satisfied. Right now he's using Zabbix as an umbrella monitoring stack. He also have multiple I forget, but I think it's 3 different external Zabbix, but it's also used by this team and also sending data in this umbrella monitoring. Every Zabbix, what is separate, it's used for different purposes, for different teams, things, etc. All the config change, outages, and upgrades, it's mainly done by this customer. We are only here for some like huge upgrades and for some, hey, we have some performance issue. Can you check what is wrong here and something like that? We are mainly helping this customer with L3 supports. Nifi Logics, it's from 99% right now covered by this customer. This customer do great job here. Right now we are doing upgrade from 6.0 to 7.0. 7.0 bring a lot of new like functionality, history push, config cache is much more better. We are also looking for some JSON path in trigger path. Sadly, I already see the question from Alois about the regular expression and JSON pan in TAC. It's not possible for now, and this is something what probably we want to implement in future. But for now, I see a multiple benefits to do upgrades. Uh, Sometimes somebody asks me about the proxies. We are not using proxy at all for this implementation. We are using proxy in different part of this company, but not for this implementation. Cost savings. I have latest update number from today. It's 80%. If this company say, okay, we are right now working on this internally for 2 guys, we are saving 80%. I know exactly the price. It's super huge. It's super huge. I was fully surprised. It's super huge. And all this is after like 6 months of implementation. This company is saving this money for 3 years. We are here doing for this customer constantly support, upgrades, performance tuning, which is done basically right now only if we figure out something new need to be done. Performance is super stable here. We do some tests, and the system can cover 200,000 of events per second. We are also delivering training. Why? Because we want to be ensure this customer know how the system works, and we are doing some extra custom integration, and of course, you see the widgets. I would like to ask you if you can join us on our LinkedIn, because next week, probably, we will share the video because we have video case study when this customer speaking exactly about this project. And what you can see also how network operations center in this company it looks like. I am not be able to share this on this presentation, but we have this on video and you can see this on video next week. I don't know why, but it's a rule from the O2. Thank you very much for your attention. And right now I will check all your questions.
Okay, thank you, Thomas.
Okay.
Are you able to see the questions?
No, I'm trying to load this. It's loaded. I have only one question.
That's right. Yep.
It's possible to tell how you ensure the migration or root cause analysis rules on Zabbix Netcool. It's a combination. It's a combination of multiple factors. I'll not be able to share the details for this one exactly, but it's a combination. We are doing some event waiting for additional event from same host or same event. And also we are checking the history. This is why we have the part what is on screenshot with the memory buffer. If you check the slides later, we have this on post-processing. This is exactly the place, and we are checking, hey, we already have this event, and hey, we don't want to do this as a additional problem because this is the root case and symptoms. For root case and symptoms, it's also something what is regarding to topology, which is not on the slides. And this is some kind of where I am not be able to tell you absolutely nothing about that. It's there, but I'm not be allowed to share this one.